Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought. I should make sure I wasn't losing. Hello, everyone. All right, we'll get it rolling. I call this meeting of the Deweyville Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present. This meeting has been duly called, and that a notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meeting Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded. Need to come back? Okay. How about a prayer?
Lord, we thank you for today. Thank you for the time that we're able to rest good for today. Lord, we ask that you watch over Mr. Hall as he continues to recover, Lord, and be with the family of Jeremy George in their trials in the coming days. We ask that you give us wisdom tonight as we make decisions, and we always keep your will in mind as we do the best we can. Amen.
Any public comment?
Yes, sir.
Information items. Federal report card.
It's going to say basically the same thing as paper, so I don't have a lot to say on it. I don't want to say the same thing twice for it. It's in his papers where we get our A to F. I'll
Let's just
answer
walk through A,
any
let's walk through A and B.
Okay.
Give us the $10 review. Yep.
Yeah.
All information. So, yes.
Paper report here. Here's our highlights for this year. Deweyville Elementary, areas of strength. Third grade reading went up 15% on approaches, scored higher than the state and region. Went up 17% on meet, scored higher than the state and scored higher than the region and tied the state. Went up 13% on masters and scored higher than the region. Math went up 8% in meets. Fourth grade reading plus 14% in approaches, beat the state and region. Plus 12% in meets, beat the state and region. Plus 1% in masters and beat the region. Fourth grade math plus 7% in approaches and beat the region on that. Fifth grade reading plus 5% in approaches, beat the state and region. Plus 5% in meets and beat the region. Fifth grade math plus 2% in approaches, beat the state and region on that. Plus 5% in meets and beat the region. Fifth grade science plus 18% on approaches, plus 6% on meets, plus 7% on masters. I'd say those are some huge gains from the elementary campus. And some of our ones where you're like, well, they didn't go up quite as much. They were already high.
When you say plus 5% means for beats region, so we're saying that our scores are 5% higher than what the regional average.
No, sir. Just that our scores went up 5% from the previous year, and then how much higher we were than the region varied, but it was a lot to get on one slide, so I was trying to keep it where it's readable. But if you look on it's one of the first pages in that paper report, it'll show you the comparisons. There you go. What page is it? 3? 3 or 4. Yeah. So starting at page 3, it'll show you the comparisons. You want to see exactly how much we beat. But
can you explain this to me? So, 2024 district, we were at 68% approaches for middle, and then we were at 83%.
we went up to 80.
Okay, so, but that would mean that we have 83%. Okay, I remember now. Never mind.
Yep.
Because everything goes.
Yes, everything goes. Yes.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Yeah, approaches is your meets and masters
Right.
and approaches
That's
all
right. Okay.
added together, so.
That's what I need to try to remember.
Like I said, overall, that's a very strong year from the elementary campus, improvement. What it shows, areas of refinement, places we can get better. Third grade math approaches, we're still lower than the region by 8%, so we want to close that gap and get up at least even with the region, if not better. Fourth grade math, masters is 14% lower, so even though we're closing the gap in approaches with region, we're not getting those other kids higher and ready for that advanced track when they hit sixth grade. And they've got to start that preparation for algebra, so we want to focus on those kids. And then science, at that meets level, we're doing better on approaches, but we're not there on meets yet. We'd like our kids to be at grade level, not just near grade level. So we want to focus in on that for fifth grade science. So
this analysis here, is this a state analysis, or is this your analysis, or our areas analysis?
This is mine with having run it by Ms. Monfus, who does the analysis for Region 5, that we were on the right track. She came about 2-3 weeks. What?
December.
I was gonna say
Like
2 weeks
December
before the
10th.
break or so. Yeah. And ran through the numbers with us, and so just kind of listening to her and then some emails back and forth is what we came up with would be the best areas to get a lot of bang for our buck. And Ms. Parkhurst has worked the numbers over and over and over again on her identity and accountability section. She has very specific and detailed plans. Okay, middle school, high school, areas of strength, sixth grade ELAR, 79% approaches, beat the state and region, plus 8% in masters. Seventh grade ELAR, plus 8% in approaches, beat the state and the region. Eighth grade ELAR, 82% approaches, beat the region, tied the state. 60% meets, beat the state and region. Eighth grade math went up 12% in meets. Eighth grade history went up 13% in approaches and beat the region and tied the state. EOC English 1, 70% approaches, beat the state and region. 50% meet, which also beat the state and region. EOC English 2, 72% approaches, beat the region and tied the state. EOC biology plus 11%, and meets plus 5% masters. Probably don't have to tell y'all what's missing from that on areas of strength. There's quite a few grade levels and sections in math. We'll see on the next slide in areas we need to work on, but there is.
On the approaches
Yes, sir.
piece, I know we keep saying our approaches, 79% approaches beat state and region. So our goal is to be at meet or master, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What's the difference between fail, or I guess, or whatever, and approaches?
Most of the time, approaches starts at around 40 to 48%, depending on the test. It varies, and the state moves the scale every year, so giving you a definite cutoff number is hard, but usually it starts somewhere around 40.
I guess is approaches looked at, do we look at approaches as a negative, or is it like our baseline? Is approaches like the baseline?
Technically pass the test,
Yes.
but you really want your kids to be at major master.
Approaches means you did it.
passing, but not real well.
Is our goal based on approaches?
No, at elementary it's not.
No.
Okay. What's the
Our goals are like more towards major masters.
Yes.
That's our thing.
Yeah, the goal is to get towards meets and masters. To me, the reason that you put the approaches in here though is because you're showing, you're recognizing the improvement that these people are making.
It's growth.
It's growth, yes,
Absolutely.
because part of this is how we got our growth measures by moving those approaches.
So if we was 100% of our kids was at approaches,
We'd be an 8 to 10.
am I gonna get the state calling me the next week?
Saying, good job.
They want to know,
Okay,
they're going to
so
want to know how we did it.
That's ultimately what I would want to make
Yes.
Okay.
Approaches gets us a point for the kid, towards accountability. And that's ultimately the goal, is to get a point from every single student somehow. But we'd like those bonus points for meets and masters.
Okay.
Areas of refinement, sixth grade math, we're 26% lower. That's a huge area that we've got to make up. Seventh grade math, 9% lower. Eighth grade math, 7% lower. And this is just the region. We're farther behind the state, but I'm one of those people, let's take it one step at a time. Let's catch the region, then we'll start worrying about how we catch the state. So it seems like it's a approachable amount.
Now, something that I can recall, and remember, I don't have very good memory, so if I remember it, there's a reason, but for some reason, 6th and 7th grade seems to be a topic every year.
Yes.
Down this.
So have we had a turnover in teachers in 6th, 7th,
Where-
8th math? Yeah.
Sixth grade is new this year.
Last year.
And last year, seventh grade is Miss Seaman, and she's been there for a bit. Eighth grade,
It's Miss
Seaman
Nina
was
and
Seaman
Coach
is
Huff.
Coach Huff has some of the eighth graders with him.
My only comment, and I'm not saying one way or the other, it just seems like the last few years it's been a topic to do these same grades.
Yeah.
And I guess my big question, are we doing something to make it better?
Yes.
Is this, I hate to say it this way, is this standard across all districts? Does everybody have a problem with 6th and 7th grade?
Yes,
I
they
don't
do.
know, maybe that's a bad year for everybody. but-
So what happens in
Should we
sixth and
be-
seventh? Yeah, what happens in sixth and seventh grade, because I just came from being a middle school principal and had the same issues with the same two grades, is you take all the fifth grade concepts that they just are starting to really get a hang on, and then you add fractions and decimals to those same concepts, but they do not get a calculator. In eighth grade, they get a calculator, and so they're better able to handle it. And so when you have kids that are just starting to get it, I mean, you look at if you go back and look at fifth grade, scores are very high in fifth grade, but we're not 70% meets, right? We're still, we're heavy on approaches still in fifth grade, which again, we get our point, we want to celebrate that. But then all of a sudden you take those same fifth grade concepts and you dump fractions and decimals on top of them. And sixth grade adds more peaks in a 1 year jump than any other subject. From fifth grade to sixth grade math adds more stuff than any other year. And then seventh grade's like, hey, by the way, seeing as you didn't do that well, now let's make the fractions irrational and the decimals repeating, and by the way, still no calculator. So they tend to just absolutely kick kids' teeth in. Now what we're doing about it is we're not jumping from curriculum to curriculum anymore. We're staying within Lumen. Lumen has built-in spiraling so that the kids don't just see something one time for 2 or 3 weeks and then they're expected to remember it months later. So we have a plan in place where we are working towards a way to fix it.
Okay, well, we've got a plan going
Yes.
forward, right? I remember over the years that we've talked about it, it seems like our 3rd and 5th grade have been strong for years. And then after they hit 6th grade, it seems like our 6th and 7th grade, which is the same kids, have struggled.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I'm not a teacher, I know it's
Right.
part
A
of
lot
life.
of it's subject matter, and a lot of it is 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Yeah.
They've become different personalities, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and
Yep.
that has a lot to do with it too.
Well, we got a plan to go.
So here's my concern. And I know because we talked about, aligning curriculum throughout the district, a couple of meetings ago. Which I think is a great idea because I think it's gonna help with what I'm about to say. So you have an 86% approaches in fifth grade math. Last year we had 84%. Okay, so 2% increase. You go to sixth grade math, and we just declined significantly. Correct. Although when you look at the region and the state, both increased slightly. So we cratered. Correct. I mean, 25 point decrease. So we know what happened. Why would we all of a sudden we have kids who are And I get what you were just saying about, yeah, it's a difference in curriculum, but last year, in 24, we were at 68%, we're actually above the region and a little bit below the state. It seems like we just tanked.
I think that's part of the teacher turnover.
Okay.
That's part of what explains that, is that you have somebody who's already been put out the door.
Alright.
Well, along that lines, which brings me to kind of where I was going with it too, is not gonna fix it here. We've had lots of changes since then, but ideally, we do our kids an injustice if we let that happen. So how are we tracking, how do we keep an eye on that? Shouldn't we be at classrooms and shouldn't we be checking things? And again, this is new, we got a whole bunch of new folks. I'm hoping we're putting stuff in place to where when that happens, and we had a term where I came from, RIP,
At what grade does
retired in
enrollment
place.
start?
When that happens, then we need to make sure our kids still get schooling, right?
Correct.
So,
Yes. I'll just tell you, Ms. Fallon's taking a very direct approach and not.
and I'm not throwing
wait and see.
stones at
Right.
any of these people who are these teachers. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this, I wanna make sure that we're in the classrooms
Yes.
and we're identifying. And sometimes people just need help. People need a boost. Sometimes it's, I don't know, people just need a little something.
Okay, college career military readiness from paper report, just a reminder that it is a lagging indicator, so, you're looking at 2 years ago seniors really, even though it says this year's number, because it gives them a chance to finish, certifications throughout the summer and then to join the military if that's what they've said they're doing. And so, that's always a report that's a few years behind. It improved 2.7%, but we're still lower than the region. Now, the early college high school model, and opening up the dual credit classes, to so many more kids will definitely help there. And then we've really tightened down on the pathways through, CTE courses. So that will help significantly moving forward. So there's a plan there. And then also, Samantha, correct me if I'm wrong, May 5th is the program review for CTE, just to make sure that everything,
It's around there.
yeah. Anyway, there's a full program review of CTE coming, spending up some grant money that had to be used through the Region Center, and so we'll be doing that program review.
It is May 5th.
May 5th, we'll be doing the program review, just to make sure that all the behind the scenes stuff is right as we submit these reports. And then, other information, page 12, shows the growth progress. And so, I mentioned that, we had shown some growth as a district from 24 to 25. And so 12 kind of details the growth. Page 17 goes through STAR participation, which, there's not really a story to tell there. If our kids were on campus, they took the STAR. It's not the case in every district, but just in case you were curious. And then page 20 shows attendance, but it is also a 1-year lagging indicator. So it's not actually reflective of last year's attendance. It goes back to 24.
How are we doing with attendance? Does it seem to be getting better or worse?
It depends on the moment.
Yeah, it depends week
And
to
there are
week.
days when we're catching vomit and, sitting on 10, 20 kids, and then there's days where we think we're doing okay. Look, a lot of kids here today, no, that's any home.
We got a lot of days in 95, but then we get some 91s in there. It kind of depends on which family gets hit with the sickness and how many siblings they take out with it, or if the Lees have a funeral.
Yeah, there's quite a few of us.
I don't know, it seems to me that, at least in the high school piece, it seems like the finals and those things at the year end would be some incentive if you don't miss school. That don't seem to be incentivized a big pile of folks, so. I don't know if there's something else we need to do, or maybe it's just not an issue, I don't know.
Once they miss, that incentive's gone, right? So, there's no incentive for them to keep them. So how do we figure out how to do it?
Yeah. I'll just say this out loud, and it's on my list of things that Ms. Fountain and I wanna talk about is, changing the way we do exemptions and finals to where it's not an all or nothing. Cause right now, once they lose it, then they just, well, I've lost it, I keep missing. And so we wanna look at some ideas of how to address that. Don't have anything definitive yet.
Well, no, I don't think we solved it here today,
Right.
right?
But definitely that is on the radar, so. All right, that was those reports, so,
All right, well, let's move forward. Any questions about it? Any more concerns? Let's go to 2C. District fundraiser highlights, Domino pizza cards, Valentine's candy game fundraiser, tamales, and staff incentive and work room. The kindness group.
so a few fundraisers rolling right now. They were just trying to cover the extra stuff for their groups, / fun prom. Correct?
Yes.
Right, junior high.
Yes, the tamales is, yeah.
Tamales is prom. Domino cards is a pretty good deal if you haven't gotten hit up yet. It's
That's
pretty
a
good
big
every
one
time you
for
get a
there.
large, so.
True. All pretty standard things.
Okay. So, board reporting, superintendent's report.
Just two real quick things, nothing to hand out or sheets to go with them or anything. One is that, February 2nd is the release of UIL districts, for, fall and spring sports. Coach Prowse and I will be going to that meeting. We'll get our districts. They'll schedule the, district, executive committee meeting where we can actually get schedules. And as soon as that happens, we'll be able to have some calendars for staff to vote on. But we were waiting to see where homecoming needs to fall and what type of long away games we have before we make final decisions on a calendar. That way we don't have to go back and redo it if UIL does something screwy, as UIL is known to do.
So we know already we're not moving up.
Correct.
So that's how, this is just going in a room and seeing everybody who's staying, who's moving.
Correct.
and
So we know within our area, there's 13 teams that are in 2A Division II. We just don't know if we're going to be in the 17 district or the 16 district. And so we've got to have UIL tell us that. And then from that, we'll make the schedules. And once we know that, we can figure out where homecoming goes, put those early out days where they need to be, and then we can get real calendars out. We do have some rough draft calendars, but they're missing those components in the fall. And so that teacher committee is kind of happy with where we're at. Now it's just putting those in and making sure the minutes add up before we vote on.
We're gonna have the same district opponents throughout, and what I mean by that is our football district opponents are gonna be the same as our volleyball district opponents.
No, it'll be different. And I don't know, I have yet to be in a second meeting in this DC. I don't know if they even try to work that around to get it close.
Yeah.
Some places do, some places do not.
I know we need to try to if we're playing a district opponent, trying to set up if they're the same district opponent volleyball, have them at the same time.
Right. Yep. Okay. And then the one other one is just we're using Region 5 right now to fill in technology as needs are. They've given us some information and a quick number access when it's an emergency, and then a way to submit some non-emergency things, and we'll keep doing that until we find full time. What I have.
All right, board training webinar. What, I mean, I got the email, but is this something we're signed up for? Is this mandatory?
It's free, so I signed y'all up. And if you want to, all you have to do is log in at home. Y'all should have got a confirmation email, and you'll use that to log in on the day.
Okay.
And it'll give
Can we
y'all
do
an hours.
hours?
Yes.
Yes.
Talk to me about it after. I hope you.
Academic calendar, 26.
I did that at the wrong spot. My bad. That's my bad.
We know that one. All right, let's roll into action items. Any more questions or concerns about any of the stuff we covered? I got you. We're at 4A.
Okay, so I don't have a number one, okay. This one starts at 3A and this one starts at 4A.
Well, there we go. Problem solved. Discuss and take possible action to approve the annual audit report.
I'll make the motion to discuss and take possible action to approve the annual audit report. Ready for you, Scott?
I'm gonna pass out what I call the clip note version of the report. I pulled out the pages I think are of importance to the board out of that 65-page report. But if you had any questions on other information, I'd be glad to go over that as well. This year's a little bit different than previous years. You did not have to have a single audit portion of the audit because your federal revenues were below $750,000. That's the threshold. If you're over that, then you have to do the single audit component of the governmental auditing. They've raised that limit now to $1 million, so it may be y'all don't have to have one for the foreseeable future, as long as we don't have any FEMA projects, and that can keep our fingers crossed on that.
And that should save us lots of money, right?
This is our independent auditor's report. First paragraph, we have audited the financial statements of the district. Second paragraph, in our opinion, the financial statements present fairly the financial position of the district as of August 31st, 2025. Presents fairly is what you're looking for. That's what we call a clean opinion. So that's a good thing. The last paragraph on that page, there was a new governmental accounting standards board, statement number 101, compensated absences. They decided to change the way that they calculate compensated absences required for governmental entities. So that was implemented this year. Page 2, if you'll remember, there's two sets of financial statements in the audit report. There's the way that y'all manage the district on a month-to-month basis, which is called fund accounting, which is modified accrual basis. And then there's a full accrual basis report for the balance sheet and income statement as if you were a for-profit organization. That's been in for probably 10 years now. It's a little confusing, but we're just trying to follow the rules. Page 2 is the income statement under the fund accounting, which is how y'all operate the district on a year-to-year basis or a month-to-month basis. The general fund is listed in the first column there. That's what most board members are concerned about. What is the fund balance in the general fund? The current year, we had a decrease in third line from the bottom there on the left-hand column, a decrease of $823,000 in the general fund. We started with the fund balance of 2.9 million, ended up at 2.069 after the loss for the current year. That $2 million as a percentage of your total revenues for a year, which was $7 million, is still at 29.5%, which is normally kind of a rule of thumb is you'd like to have at least 3 months operating expenses in your fund balance, and y'all are 25%, y'all are at 29.5%. So even with the decrease for that year, you can still at that range. District as a total had a decrease of $882,000. Some of that was in other funds column, which is probably the food services, probably the primary one in that column. Page 3 is the full accrual basis income statement. We had a loss of $882,000 under fund accounting, had a loss of $1,042,000 on a full accrual basis, so not significantly different for the current year. Sometimes it swings a little bit more than that, but not a significant difference. It's not called fund balance on full accrual, it's called net position. You started it at 22.6, back out the million loss, and you're at 21.5 million. We'll see on the next page a reconciliation between the 882 fund accounting and the 1,042 full accrual basis. Under fund accounting, your purchase of equipment or fixed assets during the year are expended as expenses on full accrual basis. It goes on the balance sheet and gets depreciated over the useful life of the assets. So that's what the first line there, and we're backing out $1 million because depreciation from previously capitalized assets was 1.3 million, and we only added 275,000 capital outlay in the fund method of accounting. So that was a big swing. But 3 or 4 more lines down, your principal payments, those are expended on your debt service fund as an expense, but when you get to full accrual basis, that's a reduction of a liability, so it's not an expense. We're adding back 929,000. That pretty much offsets the depreciation expense for the district as a whole. And then we do, on a full accrual basis, we have a pension liability and another post-employment benefit liability, so the change in those liabilities from beginning to end of the year are the last 2 numbers there. The pension caused expense at the accrual basis of 130,000, whereas the OPEB had a net reduction in expenses of 277,000 for the district. All those combined get you from 882 loss in fund accounting to $1,042,000 on full accrual. Page 5 is the balance sheet for the fund accounting method of accounting. General fund, this is your current assets and your current liabilities. What can you run the district on? It doesn't include the long-term fixed assets or the long-term debt. Total current assets for the general fund, 2.7 million. That's cash, investments, property tax receivables, and due from other governments, which would be the due from TDA. 2.7 in assets. We had about 500,000 in liabilities and deferred revenue related to the property taxes. The difference between those gets you to your fund balance, which is the 2,069,000. We talked about that. It shows up on the income statement and on the balance sheet. That's what tells you your end balance between those 2 statements. Total fund balance for the district, including the debt service and other smaller funds, is $3,094,000 at the end of August 2025. Page 6 is your full accrual basis balance sheet. It's called the statement of debt position. As you can see, it does have your fixed assets, land, 456,000, your buildings, net of depreciation, 27.7 billion, furniture and equipment, and then it does have your long-term liabilities, which includes your debt, your bonds, any kind of financing, like you financed some buses, I think, a year or 2 ago. Then you also have, like I said, the pension liability and OPEB liability. Y'all send money monthly to TRS for the retirement, but you're still giving a part of that overall liability of the state program to the district. It still gets put on y'all's financial statements as well. But because your fixed assets are significantly higher than what the debt is against them, you end up with a pretty good equity here. It's just you can't pay salaries or pay the light bill with it, unfortunately. But you do have a positive 21.5 million equity on a full accrual basis of accounting. The last page I have takes the reconciliation of that fund balance for the district of 3.1 million and converts it to the 21.5 on a full accrual basis. And as I mentioned, we were adding the capital assets get added in for full accrual, and that was 30.6 million. You back out the bonds and the debt related to those assets was only 8.3. So that's where, $22,000, 22 billion of equity gets put in because you don't owe that much debt against the assets. And then you have the changes, you have your pension liability and the OPEB and also the compensated absences calculation there. But it's mainly because your debt related to your fixed assets is only about a fourth of the totals, which is a good thing. That's about as brief as I can keep it, but if there's any questions, I'll be glad to try and answer them. We do appreciate Janae's help on this. As a joint project to get this 65-page document prepared. It's y'all's financials. We're just issuing an opinion on them.
No, you're in good hands with Jeanette. I feel good about it. Good with it. I think, I don't know. I'm not going to keep that debt up. I don't.
No, it's not
A lot of. Anyway, more to come there. We can talk about that too. I'm just curious where that line falls, but I guess we can work with you and Jeanette to understand. I mean, what, when we look at our total assets and we look at where our debt falls compared to it, I mean, is there like a break even that you want to be closer to? Do you want to be too asset happy, or No,
the closer you are to having paid off, the better you are cash flow wise, that's for sure. And a lot of y'all's difference there has to do with the flooding that y'all had and the FEMA grant, y'all had grants. Putting those assets back on as opposed to having to go out and get bonds and pay it back. So that helped a lot to get that disparity between the two, but it's a good thing to have your fixed assets paid for cash flow purposes.
Great job, appreciate it once again. Even for somebody as simple as me, I almost feel like I understood everything you said.
Well, have a good meeting, thank you.
Any questions before we go? Any concerns? All right.
Thanks, sir.
All in favor? Everybody approved, unanimous. 4B, discuss and take possible action to approve the quarterly report.
I'm going to discuss and take possible action to approve the quarterly report.
Second.
So any questions here? Any comments? Mr. Grady, you got anything you want to highlight here?
No, sir.
No questions or concerns? All in favor? Discuss and take possible action to approve monthly bills, board reports, and utilities.
I move to discuss and take possible action to approve monthly bills, board reports, and utilities.
I'll second.
Any questions here? Share water bill went down.
We were.
Just wait, it's going up next time.
Any questions, concerns here? All in favor? Discuss and take possible action to approve board meeting minutes.
Motion to discuss and take possible action to approve monthly board meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Any questions or concerns here? All in favor? Perfect. Once again, thanks for getting that to us early. I got them all this
You're
time.
welcome. Yeah, I'm glad.
Discuss and take possible action to approve donations, none. Okay, we'll jump to 4F. Discuss and take, we got any purchases?
No.
Okay. 4G, discuss and take possible action to reschedule February 16th board meeting.
It's a school holiday, we're out for the week. Most people are headed places. So unlike tonight where we could still get together, I don't know if that was gonna be a good one to try to
That's a
sell.
pretty good idea. Is this winter break?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm gonna be here.
I am too, but.
No, I'm good. I mean, wait, did I get that?
No, we did not.
Yeah.
We went
Hang on, let's go back, sorry.
We got-
Discuss and take possible action to reschedule February 16th, 2026 board meeting.
I move to discuss take all action to reschedule February 16th board meeting.
Second.
Okay.
Now we can. I was about to say something, but I didn't know.
I mean, I'm okay with doing it the following Monday, I think.
If I can add something real quick while considering dates. I think if we could do it the 23rd, then we could have the calendar to vote on by February instead of pushing that into March. And I think that would help. A lot of requests to get it done by February from staff. So I think that would help some of them feel a little more at ease. So if y'all are good with the 23rd, I feel pretty confident, unless you all discuss something crazy for the DEC meeting doesn't happen, we can have a calendar by the 23rd.
Good there.
Next Monday, right?
So they're all still that week ahead of us.
I'm good. So, yeah, I'm good. Everybody else good? So what date did we say? 23rd. All in favor? There we go. Discuss and take possible action to approve board policy DCE local.
A motion to discuss and take possible action to approve board policy DCE. I'll second.
This is around the non-certified employment contracts.
Yes, sir. This is just the approved language that we would need in our local policy to look at.
Is what you have in here, is this language fully changed or just part of this language is changing?
It would be adding to it. We don't have it. So that would be the entirety of what would be DCE local. Currently only have DCE legal.
Now, and I'm not saying this is right, wrong, or different, but so we don't need to put any guidelines in here around, I know I see them in the contracts, but around if they come in non-certified, teaching a certified position, they require, I think, this much time or any kind of those kind of guidelines or guardrails around it, or do we want to stay just kind of general like this?
For the positions that we're looking at here, there's not a true certification through SBEC or any other entity really that we could say they have to go get.
You're thinking about this in terms of.
No, I get it. I got it.
I was too.
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are technically non-certified positions, not
Correct.
necessarily.
Administrative.
Do what?
I said administrative.
Yeah.
Yes. These are non-certified positions.
That are typically at-will positions. Yes.
They have been at
They
will.
have been here, they are not typically other places. We are very outside the norm for those positions.
And we talked about that last time. We talked about those that would be changed.
Okay. Any questions about it? Any concerns? All in favor? Unanimous. All right, let's go into close.
You did the same thing. Where my mind was initially.